What's up, guys? I figured I'd make a little video. I've talked about it on a couple streams about basically my diet right now, as I'm struggling with this triple berry pie for breakfast. Um, anyway, that would be funny. It's Friday. I'll get to Fridays in a minute. So basically, I'm not counting any macros or calories right now. However, coming off back-to-back meets, I was a little bloated. I held on to that bloat for a little while longer than I typically like to. And in the gym, it's really not too big a deal except on deadlift day. But just, outside life, it's kind of uncomfortable sometimes. So basically all I'm doing now is I'm eating relatively clean Sunday through Thursday, Saturday through Thursday. And then Friday I'll eat whatever I want. And for the most part, like my breakfast on my training days is oats and berries and whey. So sometimes it'll be made with water. Sometimes those will be made with almond milk. Raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, and whey. Sometimes I'll mix the whey in with the oats. Sometimes I'll just have a whey shake by itself. That's breakfast on training days. Lunch on my training days that aren't Friday. Friday is one of my training days typically. Is like ground beef, beef hearts, beef kidneys, some sort of carb starch, be it potatoes, rice, sweet potatoes, a combination of, and then like some mixed veggies and fruit. I put pineapple. I like pineapples in my rice. And then, like a bag, and not the whole bag, but I'll put like a serving of a bag of like the mixed veggies with the peas and green beans and stuff like that in there too. It's typically lunch. And then dinner, this is why I said relatively clean. Whatever my wife makes, more often than not, it's similar to my lunch. It's some sort of meat, a carb source, and a vegetable source. It may be chicken breast with rice and broccoli. It may be ground beef with mac and cheese and cauliflower, something like that. And that's why I said relatively clean, because you wouldn't put mac and cheese under a clean food, but it's a normal portion. It's not like a huge portion or anything like that. So that's typically my training days. That's not Friday. My non-training days, the only thing I really do different, I don't have the oats for breakfast with the berries. I just have a whey shake. So just like a scoop and a half of whey for breakfast. And then I'll go walk a trail or something instead of training. And then lunch and dinner are pretty standard, what I just mentioned. On my deload weeks, I'll change it up a little bit. My breakfast will typically be the same, the oats and berries and stuff like that. But my lunch, instead of like rice and carbs, I will make like a beef stew and just have beef and vegetables and broth. And now sometimes in those vegetables there's some potatoes, but it's not a normal, like my normal lunch amount of carbs or anything like that. So I do cut the carbs down a little bit on my deload weeks for my lunches. Dinners are typically the same. That's one kind of nice thing about the quarantine, lockdown, whatever you want to call it right now. My wife not working, like she makes dinner every night, so that's awesome as fuck to have dinner just ready when I get home. Typically, before this she was working nights, which in terms of like strict diet would probably be better, but I prefer having the food already made for me when I get there. I forgot the the old uniform man. He comes by on Friday mornings. So where were we? Yeah, I like having dinner ready for me when I get home. That's really awesome. Anyway, on to Fridays, which I've eaten my whole pie between the skip time jump there. Fridays I eat what I want. I eat whatever I want and whatever amount I want. Now we're going on, I think this is the 4th or 5th Friday since I've, changed up my eating habits like this. Like the first Friday, I went in the morning to McDonald's and Bojangles. I got a large hot mocha and 2 apple pies and a bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddles from McDonald's. And then I went to Bojangles and I got a steak biscuit with a side of gravy, a large order of Bo Rounds, which if you don't know what Bo Rounds are or have a Bojangles, like they're the best tater tot, hash brown type thing at any fast food, in my opinion. And a Bo-Berry biscuit, which again, if you don't know what a Bo-Berry biscuit is, I'm sorry for you. Anyway, and that was just starting out breakfast. And then I ate, a whole shit fucking ton of food later. Nasty, dirty, sugary filled food. Almost until I was sick, basically. And, the following Friday after that was kind of similar. And then, I felt real shitty again. And then, as these Fridays have gone on, as I just ate a pie for breakfast, the total amount of junk food consumed is getting less and less and less as my body is, more and more used to eating cleaner foods throughout the week. That initial sugar high is like, wah, but then it's followed by, feeling like shit. So, it seems to, almost have been a good strategy with going overboard just to make my body sick of that shit. And, like today, I had that pie for breakfast. I've got a couple sugary drinks, couple like Frappuccino type things, that I'll have at some point today. But it won't be like an all out junk food fest, all day long. Like I'll go get lunch and I'll probably eat something again that's relatively clean. I'll probably just eat like a bigger amount than I normally do or something like that. And, I'll have a dessert with dinner or something instead of just dinner by itself. So that's basically what's going on. I was up around 310. I was 297 this morning. I'm not aiming like to lose weight per se. Like I just wanted to get some of the bloat off and eat better. And, obviously a lot of it doesn't get talked about sometimes, but more nutrient dense food, cleaner food, even in conjunction with the macros can really go a long way with aiding performance. Like macros, calories, in, out, that's going to determine your weight loss for sure. But what makes up those macros is, it probably has some effect on the calories out part. That calories out part is a lot more complicated than just my maintenance calories are 2,500. If I eat less, I'm going to lose weight. There's certainly some more nuance to it than that. But anyway, eating whole nutrient-dense food always going to be best for performance. And especially if you are losing weight, like you're going to want those foods that not only going to make you feel more full, but when you're running on limited calories, micronutrient deficiencies, come into play more so than when you're not. So, you're going to want those nutrient dense foods for a myriad of reasons. But, that's the main thing. I probably titled this something like coronavirus diet or something clickbaity. But this is just a basic, eat clean, have one day off. Eat clean, have one day off. Sensible style of eating outside of my Fridays, which my Fridays, as this goes on, are becoming more and more sensible. So I want to give you guys that update. I've talked about it on a couple streams. So there it is. Peace.